Let's look at what is called a difference quotient. Now, a difference quotient is defined as f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And the variable that is with that x, the one that's other than x, could be an a, could be something else, but h and a are the ones I've commonly seen. So let's look at an example of calculating a difference quotient. If we're given f of x equals 2x minus 4, what we would first need to do is figure out what f of x plus h is. So I start writing my f of x function, 2 times something minus 4, and in the parentheses I'm going to put x plus h. Then I'll distribute my 2, so 2 times x is 2x, 2 times h is 2h, and I've got the minus 4. So there's my f of x plus h. So now let's go back to our difference quotient, f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And let's start filling in. So f of x plus h we calculated as 2x plus 2h minus 4 minus, and then f of x is 2x minus 4. And I think you'll make less mistakes if you put these in parentheses. And then this is over h. So let's distribute the negative to the second set of parentheses. So I've got 2x plus 2h minus 4 minus 2x plus 4 all over h. If we look at our numerator, let's see if anything cancels out. So my 2x's cancel out, my 4's cancel out, because for each of those I have a positive term and a negative term. And so when we add them together, they cancel out. So I'm left with 2h over h. And we can see that the h's will cancel, and my difference quotient simplifies to 2. So my difference quotient for f of x equals 2x minus 4 is 2. Okay, let's look at our second example. F of x equals 2x squared plus 3. So let's start by calculating f of x plus h. I'll write my f function, putting parentheses where x is. So 2 times something squared plus 3. And I'll fill in the parentheses with x plus h. So here, as we simplify this, we need to do x plus h squared. And so we need to remember that that means x plus h times x plus h. And if I multiply this all out with 4 multiplications, distributing, we get x squared plus hx plus hx plus h squared. Combining my like terms, I get x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. Let's take that and go back to where we are working. So I have 2 times x squared plus 2hx plus h squared, still plus my 3. Now I'll distribute the 2. So 2 times x squared is 2x squared, 2 times 2hx is 4hx, and then 2 times h squared is 2h squared, and I still have my plus 3. So this is my f of x plus h. Going back to my difference quotient, so let's start by writing our f of x plus h. That's 2x squared plus 4hx plus 2h squared plus 3. And subtract off our f of x, which is 2x squared plus 3. That's all over h. So let's distribute our negative to the second parentheses. So my first parentheses, I'm just dropping the parentheses, 2x squared plus 4hx plus 2h squared plus 3 minus 3x squared minus 3, because I'm distributing the negative to both terms in the parentheses, and that is all over h. So let's look at our numerator to see if anything cancels. My 2x squares cancel, my 3's cancel, and I'm left with 4hx plus 2h squared all over h. In my numerator, I can factor out an h from each term. And if I do that, I get h times the quantity 4x plus 2h over h. And now I can cancel my h's, and I'm left with 4x plus 2h. And that is my difference quotient for example 2, 4x plus 2h. Okay, so I want you to try this one. try to calculate the difference quotient for f of x equals 2x squared minus 3x. So pause this, try to calculate the difference quotient, and then come back and start the video again to check your solution. Okay, so hopefully the first thing you did was calculate f of x plus h. So I'm going to write my f of x with parentheses where the x's go. So 2 times parentheses squared minus 3 times parentheses. So there's 2 places that we're substituting in x plus h. Substituting it in the first parentheses and the second parentheses. So we already know that x plus h quantity squared is x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. We saw that on the last slide. So I have 2 times that minus 3 times the quantity x plus h. Now I'll distribute. So I have 2x squared plus 4hx plus 2h squared. Distributing the negative 3, I get negative 3x minus 3h. And then we'll calculate the difference quotient. F of x plus h minus f of x all over h. I'll start with my f of x plus h. So that's 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3x minus 3h. And I'll subtract my f of x, 2x squared minus 3x, and that's all over h. I'll simplify my numerator, so 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3x minus 3h. Then I'll distribute the negative and get minus 2x squared plus 3x, and that's all over h. Let's look to see what cancels in the numerator. We've got 2x squares that cancel and 3x's that cancel. So we're left with 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3h all over h. I'll factor h out of my numerator terms. So h times the quantity 4x plus 2h minus 3 over h. And now we can see that h's cancel. And our difference quotient is 4x plus 2h minus 3.